it should be about live-ish and such. So just a little few things got to do, and then I'll get on with the video. Yes, it's not acknowledging that I'm live yet. Come on, you can do it. There we go. I just gotta click on this because YouTube doesn't let me use my own account. So I have to go through this nonsense every time to yeah, okay. It's been a while. So there's the Michael Falwell guy, I guess, has made a few videos. I haven't looked, but I saw one of them as a recommended video, and so I figured, what the hell, I'll play it, and I'm sure it's absolute garbage, and yeah, that's what we got. That's all we got so far. So we haven't found any real person that'll sit there and just draw what I draw and explain how it really happens. You know, what really happens in these different circumstances. And, you know, how they explain how the 8-pound bowling ball going twice as fast as a 16-pound bowling ball somehow will actually convey more pin action. That is, cause more pins to move with a higher velocity. Anyway, which it can't do. So anyway, so let's play along. Alright, what else do I gotta do? Check the volume, that's what I gotta do. I knew there was something that needed to be done. Jeez, I'm tired. Yeah, sorry, that's not your problem. Uncomfortable, that's what I am. But, you know, I'm that a lot. Alright, so I hate YouTube. It's changed everything. Ooh, they changed icons. Rounded them. Made them all kind of sissy. But anyway, minor problem. Not a big deal. Alright, let's see how that is. And so I hit the play button on that, so we'll find out how it is.
Time for yet more made-up bullshit nonsense.
Time for another draft. Yeah, that's a good way to start your video, because that's what it'll be. Maybe I'll take a little bit of volume off.
Physics.com, debatephysics.com also. Video presentation. So I did do a lot of, yeah, there was a lot of arguments made and a lot of demonstrations and drawings and all of that stuff. And
so just draw it. Just draw it. And he's going to tell us that 3 springs doesn't make 3 times the velocity, or 2 springs doesn't make 2 times the velocity. Somehow it does something else. And so I guess I'll draw that again.
Demonstrations? No, you make bullshit arguments, you don't do demonstrations.
It's just a waste of time. Okay, fine. You smell like ass. Okay, double ass. Ass squared. There.
Demonstrations, you draw pretty pictures.
there is a lot of just
Right, so any physicist who draws what they're talking about on the board is some kind of asshole. Yeah, that's their opinion. It's just math. You don't need any drawings. You don't need to understand relationships at all. You know, just see like the matrix. You're supposed to just see the mathematics. Ugh.
discretion applied by YouTube in deciding who's relevant and what's relevant and what's worth viewing. So anyway, this is just a video.
So he does have his volume way off, so there's not much I can do about it. But, you know, my video is the video. This video is made in a separate video, and he's playing some different video instead.
Yes, your genius has been suppressed.
Whatever. You know, the truth has been suppressed, and it's being suppressed by morons like you. Progress is being stalled and stifled because of assholes like you, okay, who think science should be, well, almost looks like, it's almost, and it's also interesting if it's all doesn't perfectly make sense. That makes it so much more fun. So much more fun. That's your science.
Call out to anybody who cares about science and the truth, frankly, to respond in some sort of reasonable and rational way.
Right, and they can't do that, right? So even though I've offered $4,000, okay, to 5 or 6 of these physicists on the YouTube, just to play a 5-minute video and explain how I'm an asshole, okay, for thinking it worked that way. And you can't get to any of these people, even if you make the payment level to their popularity on YouTube, you still can't find any who will man up and take on the challenge of proving Newton wrong. So let's understand, they're going to prove Newton wrong. Newton said twice the force, twice the motion, 3 times the force, 3 times the motion. He didn't think it took 9 times the force to make 3 times the motion. He wasn't a Leibnizian. It's just a fact, he wasn't.
The simple arguments that I have made.
Plenty of people have responded reasonably and rationally with arguments.
Oh, no, so that's just lying. Okay. Rational is an argument where somebody proposes that I have somehow argued that you could suspend something in gravity and it's not moved by gravity and it doesn't collect the gravity and it just stays suspended in gravity. No, that's not one of my arguments.
Some with evidence. And you can't handle any of it, can you?
Over and over,
what the hell he said.
And basically demonstrating that there really isn't any good evidence that 1/2 mv squared has anything at all to do with reality, that there's any such thing as the kinetic energy.
You've seen plenty of good evidence.
Okay, so that's what we're missing, is the plenty of good evidence. And as described, there isn't any. In terms of every single one of these things I mentioned, okay, the ballistic pendulum, hydraulics, gears, levers, none of them. They have no evidence, no measured anything to demonstrate that this ever happens, this 1/2 mv squared thing being conserved, because every single time you conserve it, if you do, and you're transferring energy from things of different mass, it means you have to destroy the momentum. And you can't do that.
Haven't you?
Theorem that there's some other energy besides just momentum or weight or pressure, and that there really isn't any.
Yes, and so this example will demonstrate the weight argument. There's going to be 3 springs pushing something, and their argument is that somehow these springs in parallel won't add up to exactly what one spring would do, in the terms of one spring on the other side would collect, when one spring pushes, it'll collect 1 spring worth of pressure, weight. And then when 2 springs push, it's going to collect 2 units of weight. It's going to move twice the distance. That's Hooke's law. When the 3 springs are all used, it's going to compress 3 times. They think 3 times the compression, 3 times the weight, is 9 times the energy. It's really stupid. Yeah. But he won't address any of this.
Anything else. That forces can.
Why are you conflating again? Weight, pressure.
Yeah, I conflate them because they all do exactly the same thing. There's no way you could apply a pressure without applying a weight. There really isn't.
Not the same thing.
Weight, pressure, or force, because it doesn't.
And again, weight, pressure, force, conflating them all. They all have a meaning.
Whatever. They have no meaning if they're not the same thing. I'm just saying, what are they? What's the difference? What could possibly be the difference between a weight and a pressure? How would you manufacture it? How would you draw it, if you could? So draw me the difference between a force, a weight, and a pressure. What are the 3 things doing that is completely different?
You can't conflate them.
And the simple argument is that you're going to have the capacity to launch the springs, release the springs individually. So if you
So the point is, it's clearly proving that yes, the springs are going to apply a pressure. The thing is going to move. The movement's going to be essentially a weight. Momentum is weight. It's pressure. It's an applied force. How can they all not be the same fucking thing?
you're going to get 1 velocity here. So if I release 1 spring, push the object here at a smaller mass, I'll get 1 velocity. Now if I release 2...
When you release 1 spring, you will get a velocity. Yes, some force will be applied over a time. You'll get an acceleration, and out of that, you'll get a velocity.
Yes, you'll get the velocity that we're going to call a unit of velocity. So whatever that velocity is, we're calling that 1 unit of velocity.
2 springs, then I will get 2 shoe, units of velocity. So whatever the velocity is, it'll be twice the velocity. Perfectly consistent with Newton's second law. I mean, what he's...
All right, so now the only problem with this is I am using springs, and so as I say later in the video, well, you have to concede that because of the video I made on springs, demonstrating that springs don't work perfectly. So the faster you're moving when a spring is pushing you, the more energy will be stuck in the spring. So the slower you move, the less energy left in the spring. The faster you move, you can sort of understand the spring is still moving when you leave. So the spring has more energy in it and it'll wobble more, demonstrating it has stored or kept some of the energy. So it won't be perfectly 2V, it'll be maybe 1.8. Some kind of number like that. What it won't be is 1.4, okay, and that's their theory. So they say when one spring pushes, it's one velocity. When two springs push, it's only 1.4 velocity. You're 1.4. And then if all three push, it's only 1.75, I think is what it comes to. Yeah, that would be 3. 1.75 squared is 3. So they think there's only 3 units of energy. That's why they don't need 9 units of force, because it's only 3 units of energy, because it never goes twice the speed. It always stays, it never even goes twice the speed. So 3 springs pushing, it will still be going 1.7. It won't be going 2, and it won't be going 3V. Just 1.7. That's their wacky theory. So taking that to an extreme, you could say, okay, if I was using wind, it means I have 1 sail on my little boat, and then I put 2 sails on the boat. Obviously, it's going to go twice the speed. I'll put 3 sails on the boat. It's going to go 3 times the velocity, right? If I'm using a water hose, I'm using any other kind of force that's not a spring, I'm not likely to have the same little problem where I won't get the true velocity. But you could understand that clearly when 3 springs in parallel release their energy, and if I was to release it directly into, okay, in a sense I would just want to throw something a millimeter away and have it push on one spring of exactly the same K value, the same constant, it'll compress it 3 units of distance. And this same asshole Falwell will tell you that 3 units of compression in a spring is 9 units of kinetic energy.
No, it's not perfectly consistent with Newton's second law. It won't go twice the velocity. It will have twice the acceleration.
So whatever that means, it'll have twice the acceleration, can't possibly mean anything other than twice the velocity. So right there you're just saying, what the fuck did you just say? It has twice the acceleration. You're claiming it only has 1.4. That's your claim. 2 springs, 1.4. That's your claim.
Because that's what Newton stated. Force is equal to mass times acceleration. So if you've got twice the force and you're using the same mass, you'll get twice the initial acceleration.
So how could twice the acceleration not be something like 9 meters per second, and now you have 18 meters per second? That's twice the velocity, asshole. You can't have twice the acceleration and say it's not twice the velocity. It's twice the change in the velocity. This is how much they just can't possibly be true to the argument, be reasonable, be rational. I mean, what he's saying is contradicting himself. It's so stupid. This is why I shouldn't play their videos. This is just such noise. These are valid. These arguments are so invalid, that it's like arguing something worse than, it's like the indented Earth or something. It's not even flat. It's like the concave Earth theory.
Not velocity.
So acceleration doesn't create a change in your velocity. That's his argument, apparently. That acceleration isn't proportional, even, to a change in your velocity.
That right under the second law was twice the force, twice the motion. 3 times the force, 3 times the motion.
So let's see if he overtly states that Newton was wrong. Does he have the courage to do that?
So clearly he understood momentum
Oh, so far not.
works. And then 3 springs will give me...
He understood it.
Okay, he something something. Let's see what he's. I couldn't tell what he said, unfortunately. Let's see. Maybe. Well, I will put up. Let's see. What do I do with the velocity? This volume. I need more for me. I'll see if I can hear it.
Springs will give me.
He understood it. You.
He understood it. So what is there to? How can you misunderstand? 1 unit of force, 1 unit of velocity. 2 units of force, 2 units of velocity. 3 units of force, 3 units of velocity. Now, I called velocity motion, and you mean that's what's confusing me? I don't understand that motion isn't velocity? Or what's exactly your argument? How have I misinterpreted or misunderstood his statement? Fuckhead. Why don't you just admit he didn't say F equals ma? He said F equals the change in your momentum. That's what he said. That force is essentially a replacement for momentum. Whatever the force is, as it changes you, it's going to change you in terms of the proportion of a change in your momentum. So the force might as well be understood as being a unit of momentum. And that the units are consistent. 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. You lying piece of shit.
Fucking don't.
3 velocity.
Alright, so that was his response. So instead of saying Newton was wrong, he's saying that somehow when I repeat Newton, verbatim even, I'm wrong. Yeah. So this is a reasonable counter-argument? This is somehow debunking me? No, this isn't saying anything. Again, demonstrating no courage whatsoever. If I'm wrong, Newton's wrong.
Okay. Now, it's just an undisputable fact that I did 3 units of work. I didn't do 9 units of work. I just did 3. These are...
Correct.
Yes, correct. Yes. And I'm going to get more than 1.75 the velocity. A lot more.
There's 3 units of energy there. You've got a spring compressed over 1 distance, 1 unit of force, and you've got that 3 times. So you've got 3 units of energy.
Okay, whatever that means. So 3 units of energy, but it's not 3 units of momentum. It's not capable of producing momentum. So you're saying my understanding is wrong. You're saying that this isn't 3 units of force. So Newton wouldn't understand that 3 springs pushing is not 3 units of force. That's your argument? Well, it sucks.
Therefore, it won't go 3 times the velocity.
What will it go? Say the words. It will only go 1.75. So the 2 extra springs will only produce 0.75 an increase. Less than 1 velocity of an increase. 2 springs, less than 1 unit of velocity. That's his theory. That's the theory he says has been well documented and proven.
And you deny, to deny F equals ma.
Of course I deny that it equals what you think of. So this is the rules, right? What you think acceleration is. Acceleration is the change in velocity. It is not a new kind of thing. It is not some kind of special word that means something. It's a change in velocity, and that's all it is. It isn't some function that is legitimately squared because it happens more than once in 5 hours. Because it happens more than once in 5 hours doesn't mean you square it.
Which is Newton's second law.
So it's not. So again, that's a well documented and well proven fact. It's nowhere in Newton's mathematics. It's not how Newton understood the concept. He clearly understood it as I stated it, in that 1 unit of force, 1 unit of motion, 2 units of force, 2 units of motion. There's no squared velocities involved in linear motion.
It's just, you're denying physics. Newton said force is equal to the change in momentum.
There you go.
over the change in time.
It's not the change in time, it's the amount of time. So again, just keep lying about the fact. If you're going to do a net force, the net force is just the change in the momentum because time is irrelevant. And the same is true if you're going for a rate, then the rate is going to be how much per 1 second, not second squared. So again, these are just their lies. It's in 1 second units. Gravity is in 1 second units. 60 miles an hour is in 1 hour units. It's a lie to say it's 60 miles an hour squared. Nobody would say they're driving to the store and they're going to go an average of 43 miles per hour squared. No one says that because that's not how motion works.
Momentum is mass times velocity. So when we take out the mass to the other side of the equation, you've got F over m equals change in velocity over change in time,
which is a rate. Okay. The change in time has to be in 1 second units. It isn't squared.
which is the acceleration. So you've got force divided by mass equals acceleration. 3 times a 4.
Okay, so again, more bullshit. All right. Again, that's a rate. If you're going to multiply the rate, you have to multiply it as it is, which is a number over 1. That's how rates come. They can't come in any other form but in units. And if you're going to change the bottom unit to some other number of seconds, you have to change the top number.
Which is what you've got there in your example, is 3 times the initial acceleration.
Alright, so it's just more bullshit. You got 3 times the force is what you have. 3 times the pressure. Fact. 3 times the weight.
I will get this proportional increase in the velocity. Now, because I have explained how springs work.
But you won't.
Okay, so again, he's saying that you won't, but he won't tell us his numbers. And again, his numbers are 2 springs only get you 1.4, so you only get 0.4 an increase. Not even 0.6 or 0.7, just 0.4. And then with 2 extra springs, all you get is an extra 0.7. You don't even get a full unit of velocity.
You never test anything. You don't understand anything.
Okay, so again, I never test anything. You're defending the physics that hasn't done anything. Not one of these experiments. They haven't weighed anything. They haven't measured anything. They haven't stuck a thermometer in anything. Where's my scale, right? The scale example. They haven't turned the scale sideways. They haven't done any experiments. None.
And you will not get 3 times the velocity.
You'll get close enough. What you won't get is 1.4 for 2 springs, and you won't get 1.75 for 3 springs. That won't happen. And that's the theory you're defending, you liar.
Momentum is force times time. So yes, you...
So he did it again. It's not force times time. Momentum is force times velocity. But whatever. Silly shit. Let's see what we got here comment-wise. Whatever happened there? 22. Useful channel you have. Okay, well, that's not very useful. Okay. I talked to a guy, so this is, whatever this is. Called the Storm. A guy who has a physics degree and has been working in the industry, whatever the industry is, for 11 years. I don't think there's any physics industry. And he says that people are basically making stuff up at this point. Well, that's all the abstract crap. You know, I mean, all the dark matter, color, spins, all kinds of, nonsense. Especially all these stupid neutrino bullshit, it's all nonsense. Especially all the quantum mechanics. Yes, obviously, there's no qubits. There's not going to be any quantum computer. None of this crap has anything to do with reality. And I argue there probably never will be fusion either, frankly. Because I don't think you can make more energy by compressing something. You have to allow it to expand. But anyway, implosions aren't great energy sources. All right, so yeah, that's it. Yeah, so not much in the comment section, which is unfortunately just the sad reality of this life on YouTube through Google censorship.
Got 3 times the force.
So he's saying it's 3 times the force. Obviously, it's not Newton's definition of 3 times the force, because 3 times the force causes 3 times the motion. So again, why don't you just say you disagree with Newton's words? Say Newton said it badly or something, because that's exactly what Newton's saying, and you're saying something opposite.
There, but it won't be applied over the same amount of time.
So again, it doesn't matter when it's applied over time. It just couldn't make any difference. But whatever, play your game. It's a net force. It's a net amount of energy in the spring. It either gets into the object or it doesn't. There's no I can just make it disappear. There's no concept of I'll just make the energy disappear. You have to explain where it is if it doesn't go into the object. If it doesn't complete its net completion, it has a net amount of force in it. Do you concede that this has nothing to do with a rate because it's a net amount of force in the spring? Do you concede? Or are you going to make some crap up? Do you understand it's a net amount of wind that pushes on a sail? Do you understand it's a net amount of water that pushes on anything from a water hose? Do you understand the hydraulics? Do you understand any of these arguments that this net thing is, these are impulse conditions. They aren't anything about some gravity force or some other thing. It's an impulse force. It's a net amount of force. You're saying the net amount of force doesn't get into the object somehow. Well, where is it then?
Is releasing 1 unit of force with 1 spring, because obviously as you put more force in, it will accelerate quicker. Therefore,
so again, we know the springs are all going to accelerate exactly at the same speed. Okay, so and with 1 spring, it's going to be moving slower. With 2 springs, it's going to be moving faster, and with 3 springs, it's going to be moving much faster. But the contribution from each spring is going to be exactly the same. They're all going to be doing exactly the same thing. Their acceleration. And obviously their rate of acceleration is constantly changing. That is, it's constantly increasing until the object leaves. And the object's going to leave when it's going at its peak velocity. The spring's peak, what will be the spring's peak velocity. Obviously the only way the spring leaves the object is the spring has to start going slower than the object it's pushing. Duh. You're just so wrong. Yeah, maybe I'll do the drawing thing here. What an asshole. Yeah, I think we'll use the light pen. Alright, so if I had 3 springs, okay. The simple argument, Hooke's law kind of argument is that if I have these springs in parallel, okay, it's really the same thing. You know, in terms of the small amount of compression in these springs will be the same as a combined compression in 1 spring. So if I have, let's just say it's this much compression in the spring, and I applied that to 1 spring, okay, so the spring would start off that big, but I would take away those 3 units of distance. And so this is the compression I could expect, 3 units of compression. So the 3 little units here, all right, will add up to 1 continuous unit in 1 spring. So it'll be exactly 1 pound, or 1 unit of compression, 2 units of compression, 3 units of compression. There won't be any way to avoid that. And again, by their theory, twice the weight is 4 times, is 4x the energy. Twice the weight is 4x the energy in the spring. So obviously 3 compressions in the spring would be 9 times the energy by their theory. And none of that's true. I can't have 9 times, I can't compress the spring with 9 units of kinetic energy when I only put in 3 units. Simple logical facts.
Time that the force has been applied for is less.
Alright, so again, this is idiotic. There's no time. These are These are impulse forces, net forces. They have a certain amount of energy. Either you put the energy in the object or you don't, but there is no time factor that has anything to do with anything.
So it can't be 3 times the momentum.
So this would be just like hydraulics or anything else. If I make the cylinder, I'm pushing 3 times the size. You can't change those relationships and pretend that there's a 1.4 and 1.7 thing, because there isn't. You can't lose the momentum. You have to conserve it.
It's impossible. It doesn't happen.
Okay, so keep saying it, and you have no evidence of that, just harsh shit you spew. And with no evidence, and then you contend that you're protecting science when all you're doing is ruining science.
I mean, Newton, he figured this stuff out, when basically by candlelight, when people were still...
Oh, just amazing. So he's saying that Newton figured out this theory of his, this 1.4 thing, when Newton overtly said, twice the force, twice the motion. So he's just such a liar.
Still pissing and shitting in pots. Hundreds of years ago this was observed and formed...
Well, no, it wasn't. What you're claiming wasn't observed. You're just a liar. It's not what was observed. Nobody said what you're saying. Nobody said twice the force, twice the spring compression, or twice the wind, or twice the water in a stream means that you only get 1.4 the velocity increase. Nobody said that. You have no evidence that anybody defended that theory. You stinking liar.
And now, in this day and age, you don't even understand it.
Yeah, of course, I don't understand liars, and I don't understand perversions that are so obvious. Leibniz didn't win the day. Let's understand, all of the people who existed when Newton was talking didn't believe your theory, didn't believe it happened. They understood what a lever was. They understood that what you're saying can't be true, because it doesn't happen. Something that weighs twice as much does not weigh 4 times as much. It doesn't have 4 times anything. It only has twice the weight.
When people back in those times were clever enough to figure this out.
All right, such a liar. Just such a fucking liar. You have no evidence of that. None. 0. So go ahead, name the names. Name the people while Newton was alive who defended Leibniz's theory. Name them. Name them. Besides Huygens and Leibniz, who said so?
It's a universe.
And they didn't even say that. Again, they never said anything about exactly how force works, except for Leibniz saying, 2 things with completely different momentums have the same energy. That is, one mass going 4v equals the same impact energy or capacity to do work as a 4 mass going 1v, when no, they don't.
Thing, it's never been proven to be wrong.
I mean, a 1 mass going 2v, sorry. So now, if it was 1 mass going 4, then it would be equal. A 1 mass going twice the velocity does not have the same capacity to do work as a 4 mass going 1 velocity, because the 4 mass has twice the momentum, and momentum does work.
You can write it in a little triangle.
So there's really no point in this, right? This is just gibberish. There's no evidence Newton didn't believe in conservation of momentum, or that he believed in some other force besides momentum.
At the top, underneath that, a to the right of that, force divided by mass equals acceleration.
So he keeps saying this crap as if it has some relevance to a spring. A spring has a certain amount of energy. You can't give it more energy, less energy. It has a certain compression. It has a certain capacity to give motion to objects. It has a certain capacity to transfer momentum. And that's all. And if it doesn't transfer the momentum, there's a reason. And I've already pointed out the reason, because sometimes the spring keeps more of the energy. Period. That's it. Springs collect energy really well, really consistently. They don't release it very well. Just a fact.
Force divided by acceleration equals mass. Mass times acceleration.
So none of this has anything to do with the example drawn. There's no constant force, there's no constant acceleration, none of this has anything to do with the example drawn on the board.
Equals the force. So as long as you know 2 of the knowns, you can calculate the third unknown.
And so waste of time. Alright, chat filter is pointless. I don't know what that means. Should be set to default all chat. Okay, well, thank you. I agree. Let's see. Oh, look at that. There are live chats. Oh, isn't that interesting? But they're probably, oh, it's one person going to yammer and yammer and yammer. Let's see. Responded to numb nuts. Okay, that's a waste of time. So that's what this is. Dr. Val. Who the hell is he? Yeah, you mean the creepy guy. Oh, creepy man who likes to play with my penis. Let's see. Responded to you. What response? He didn't notify me. So he's been constantly emailing me. So why wouldn't he email me if he made some new video? So it's obviously not a new video of any kind. Let's see. Let's find out what this Ashley retard says. You need to read up on unit analysis. Go fuck yourself, you ugly cunt. Let's see. You mean square root of 2? No, fuck you, you asshole. Sales will go faster than light. What the fuck are you talking about? Alright, so I'll just block this. This is a waste of time. No, time out it for 24 hours. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, just a waste of time. So, actually the filter is very useful, I guess, because the filter knew this Ashley thing is a retard. It's even got scammer in its name. You know, just amazing. Oh, God, people are just so disgusting. Alright, let's see. You have eccentric charisma that is quite compelling in formulating your arguments. Well, obviously it isn't. So you're not a very good judge, are you? Obviously, I've been doing this for 10 years. If I had any charisma at all, or any, like, secondary appeal besides being reasonable and logical, I would have more than, 43 views on a video. Ugh, amazing. I'm not avoiding anything, you liar. So whatever, let's go. We'll go find. I didn't know he made a video. Would you think I go look at his scuzzy, silly channel? Let's make chloroform. What do we need chloroform for? Well, in case I want to, kill my wife, it'll be perfect. I can chloroform her, put her in the trunk, dump her in the ocean, say, oh, she was going for a swim. Fuck, you people are retarded. Ugh. God, I'm not going to respond to lies. If you can't post a motherfucking comment without fucking lying, then fuck you. I really don't have any obligation. So I'll give you 10 minutes to think about it. I'm playing Falwell's retarded video. So let's go find this other asshole's video. I don't think he made a video, but let's go find it if he did. Let's see. I should have it here. Blue Moonshine, yeah. Moon Wiper. So where's the video? I don't see one here. Drinking beer, littering, recording. So where the fuck's the video? That's no good. Dumbass day share. That's not a video. You people are just such fucking liars. You just sit there and waste my motherfucking time. Oh, here we go. Explaining acceleration to draft science. Yes, it's ms squared. No, it isn't. Okay, you have no physical evidence that that's true. Alright, so let's play it.
Uber Eats knows you crave Crunchwrap Supremes when the game goes into crunch time. So get a free Crunchwrap Supreme from Taco Bell on Uber Eats
I'm
right
going
now.
You jackass. You've made it clear. I've made it clear to you. Doxing me is not acceptable. All right, you fucking piece of human garbage. I've made that clear. So you can't respect that simple little request, okay, that you don't dox me to make your fucking piece of shit videos. So I'm going to write your university. All right, and I'm going to point out to them what you have done with your fucking time as a physics professor. Your silly mocking videos and your silly, even sillier, mocking website where you lie about people and dox them.
And completely nonsensical arguments against my video tutorial.
You piece of foreign crap.
The point is that I believe that everyone has the right to defend themselves when they are attacked.
Oh, you're just such a moron. Nobody attacked you, you piece of scum. You sat there and stole my content, put it on your fucking goddamn shit page, and then you had the audacity to have a wife that's involved in art, and you sit there and defaced somebody else's art, you motherfucker. Because you couldn't deal with the fact that I'm better endowed than you are as a male. You fucking weasel.
One of these people who think that you should just let people hit you and...
Didn't happen, fucker! You were proud of the fucking goddamn mocking page you made, so you did it first, and I said, okay, look, if he's going to sit there, and I didn't do a damn thing until you started defacing my art, you motherfucker, all right, and doxing me. And so then I gave you what you deserved, and I made you into the dickhead you are, you fuck.
Hope that they'll stop. It doesn't work. Okay, real men, they stand up when they are attacked.
Real men stand up, you fucking piece of shit. And from what I've heard is you knock on people's door and punch them in the face. That's what I've heard. Well, go ahead and try that here, because we actually have some laws here, I know. And there's a thing called assault and battery, motherfucker.
And they strike back. Now I gave him a chance to think twice by responding.
Oh, go fuck your ugly mother's cunt.
Relatively calmly and even humorously, with a little profile of him that.
Yes, and you've had to keep on emailing me. So again, I can show the emails here. Every single time he made an edit to his little moron page, he felt it necessary to inform me, like I could give a fuck, and I couldn't give a fuck if you would get my goddamn fucking name off of it. You fucking shit. You can't understand that people who are against the establishment are put in a negative position. I mean, it's one of the most famous things that took place in goddamn science was Galileo being tormented by the Inquisition, you motherfucker. That's what happens to people who say anything against the goddamn establishment is they're put at fucking risk, you fucking idiot. And I explained that I live in somebody else's fucking house, you fucking piece of crap.
I made and which is available on my website. And of course...
Yes, and then his profile is available on my website. Now, right? Not by my choice. I didn't start it. He did.
He reacted as you'd expect. He went on camera and complained about it like a baby. It's like, you know this kid who gets punched at school?
Oh, this is ridiculous. Why don't you just lie overtly some more? So, okay, I'll title some more videos with your fucking lousy doctorate name in them and just show what a fucking lunatic science. This is what people call a science professor? This fucking psychotic loony?
And runs to his mom crying, but forgets to mention that he threw the first punch.
Fuck you. Prove it. What was my first punch? I disagree with you?
That's the kind of level we are dealing with here. Anyway, today we are going to explain to him why acceleration is measured in meters per second square.
Yeah, it isn't. And if you want to get a right answer, it isn't. So go ahead, explain to us why Newton was wrong. So you're such a ballless little cunt. You can't even say who you're disagreeing with because you're disagreeing with Isaac Newton. Isaac Newton didn't say 9.8 meters per second squared, or 32 feet per second squared. He didn't say that, fucker. Because it isn't true.
Because apparently he's having a mental breakdown about it. But before that...
Can you hear this pussy shit? Is it loud enough? Let's see if these chatters are worth anything. It's hard to tell from my perspective.
Let us see
Should be
who
loud
we
enough.
are dealing with. Let us see who that crackpot is. So, Gary Mosher...
Okay, this is... No. I'm not responding to this bullshit. I've explained. I don't publish under my name. This is just such weaselly behavior. So fuck you. I'm going to write to Mrs. Owner of your university, and I'm going to point out that you're a doxing, threatening piece of human garbage, and you have no business being a role model for even in a black college. Yeah. You fucking piece of dirt. I mean, really, he's going to sit there and Google somebody on the fucking internet. I mean, you can't see how that's just so dangerous and obnoxious? You people really are that fucking stupid? I've never even seen anybody do that before. To sit there and, well, I might get your address, I might get your family, I might get all kinds of things. Who cares, right? Fuck you, fuck them. Amazing bullshit. Amazing. Just fucking amazing. I better save that video, right? So I can send it to the, whatever her name is, the princess of the university. Let's see. Alright, let me just go back there for a minute just so I can save that. Actually, download. There we go. Unbelievable. I mean, it just amazes me. I think people just couldn't get any scummier, and they just go another level lower, another level lower, another level lower. And it's everywhere that this happens. It's just, you know, I just wish I could give you some more examples of stuff going on. It's just, and you're just, what? I mean, they're just people, they just can't be honest. They just can't, there's not a shred of integrity in people. It's just amazing. All right. So back to this wad of crap.
And it works universally, never been proven to be wrong, and you deny it. It's pure Newtonian mechanics, you know.
Okay, so it's just a lie. It's Newtonian. It's just, you know. So yeah, what are you going to do, right? They can just lie. The fact is, they don't. They haven't done any of the experiments, so they can't just show you the experiment because they haven't done any of them.
Newton, your idol, and you're basically calling him a fucking bullshitter now.
Because the faster.
All right. So I directly, as you can, quote Newton, and he's saying that somehow I'm lying about what Newton believed, and he was really a Leibnizian. So obviously that's just insane rhetoric. Leibniz was the worst enemy Newton had in his life, and there were lots of people who spoke for Newton when Newton had a real job, and made it clear that everything Leibniz was saying was obnoxious to Newton's mechanics.
Object moves, okay? The faster the spring is still moving when the object leaves. So it's just an absolute fact that if...
So, yeah, it is a fact that, yes, when you use the three springs, they're going to move faster. So, therefore, the force can't be applied over the same amount of time.
All right, so he's still doing this. It's just a net force. Either the spring transfers the energy or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, you have to explain where it is. So obviously I'm explaining where it is in the sense that, yes, obviously when the object moves at 3 times the velocity, or tries to, it's going to be a little less than that because the springs are going to be wobbling a little bit more because of the higher velocity. More will be left in the spring, but it won't be anything like their prediction. So it'd be a little less than twice the velocity, a little less than 3 times the velocity. It won't be anywhere near 1.75.
Therefore, there can't be 3 times the momentum.
So you tell us what it is. Tell us the 1.75. So instead of 3 times the velocity, you only get 1.75 the velocity. Go ahead and say those words, you pussy.
Let's say that first velocity was 10 miles per hour. That means the spring was going 9 miles an hour, 9.9, when the object left. And so it means the spring definitely has some energy in it because it's going pretty fast still. And so the spring wobbles more would be. So obviously more energy would be left in the spring. And the faster you're going.
Right, this whole wobbling thing just stems from what I showed, right?
Doesn't stem just from what you showed. What did you ever show anyway?
Yes, the spring does oscillate after the mass has left.
And does that, right? Is it going to just concede that that means that all of its energy can't be in the object because it's still moving? If it's still moving, it didn't give away all of its motion. Duh.
But what you don't seem to understand is that was filmed in nearly 8,000 frames per second.
Oh, whatever, 8,000. You didn't film anything at 8,000 frames per second. But whatever. We're not talking about your shitty videos. We're talking about every single time a spring has ever been used to push another object. You can see the spring wobbling, for fuck's sake.
Second, in real time, we're talking less than a blink of an eye for that energy. That's, that tiny amount of energy that's...
Okay, so now he's saying it's tiny. Okay, so we don't know what that actually means. I mean, what's tiny mean? 10%, 5%, 2%? What do you think it is?
In the spring still to dissipate. And the results, the experimental results show that it doesn't matter. It's such a tiny amount left in the spring that it doesn't affect the results, really. You've seen that.
Okay, so that's just a lie. Now you can see the huge effect it had in physicist Michael's video. So when he pushed 2 heavy cars, twice the weight, the total momentum, if you count both motions in both cars, was much higher than when you had a half-mass car and a half-mass car, and pushed those with the same spring. The amount of energy left in the spring is quite obviously higher because the one-mass car moves much faster. So, and the numbers were almost the difference between, it's almost 30%. It was the difference between 2,000, you would argue, and 3,000. So it's 1/3. Substantial difference. Huge difference, really. Scaringly large difference. Nothing.
And this, like I say, this all stems from you viewing something in extreme slow motion.
So he really thinks I have some recollection of viewing one of his silly videos and seeing something that I'm somehow in this video talking about his silly experiment. Not even close, retard. I have, you people are so incredible. You lie so often that I don't pay any attention to anything you do. Because none of it can be trusted. You're so dishonest.
In reality, that's pretty fucking slow, that click, compared to it.
It's just a fact that physics doesn't really care, doesn't really mention anywhere. I can't find it referenced anywhere.
It doesn't have to care.
Okay, it doesn't have to care. So it does all these spring experiments, and it's not important that springs collect energy very efficiently and release energy a lot less efficiently. And in some cases, you can imagine it's really, 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 really off. So the lighter the object I put on the spring, you can understand the spring has a maximum speed. So obviously anything that needs higher than that maximum speed can't get any of the energy. So a dust particle or a very small piece of styrofoam will get, 3% of the energy of the spring. It won't get anywhere near, 100%. 3%. So it can make a huge difference. You lying piece of scum.
because the fucking results show it to be not.
All right, liar. There's no results showing it, and the results in physicist Michael's videos clearly show the same spring compression producing vastly different amounts of total pressure or momentum. And the only explanation is well, that's because the springs were less effective at the higher velocities.
What's a major problem? You find it a major problem because you saw something and jumped to a fucking...
I know, that's just a lie, okay? What I did was, I looked at experiments and realized that the simple truth is if something's still moving, it can't have given its energy away. That's just a fact. If I have a flywheel and it's spinning and I'm going to use that motion to make something happen, do some work, well, if the flywheel's still moving, it means I didn't get all of its energy out of it.
Conclusion.
Where they actually talk about the fact that springs absorb energy at any speed. You can push them quickly, you can push them slowly, but how they release energy.
And again, you've seen experiments where springs have collected energy, which you say they do really well. You've seen 1 pound.
No, I haven't seen it, okay? I saw it sliding on a stick. All right, and you did no analysis of how efficiently those sticks work. You didn't even measure how the spring compresses. Like you didn't put 1 pound on it, 2 pounds on it, 3 pounds to see if the spring could actually measure these weights. You didn't test a fucking thing. All right, and you didn't even tie the springs down. You didn't even flatten the top of the spring, that is, tie the last coil down so it doesn't dig into something or twist into something. You did nothing to make the experiment credible.
Dropped 4 feet and 4 pounds, dropped 1 foot, and it's exactly the same collection of energy.
So again, and these were all duct taped together, piles of different hunks of socket wrench things, and who the hell knows? Who the hell knows how much friction was created? It's a bullshit experiment. No velocities measured.
You've seen it.
So let's understand, that's what they're saying here. It took 9 times the energy to go 3 times the velocity. Obviously, I didn't put in 9 times the energy. I only put in 3 times the energy. It's just an absolute fact. It'd be obvious it's not going to have 9 times the energy. It's not going to crush something 9 times as much. So they've never done any experiments. So the Mythbusters did crash.
Oh, God, and this crushing thing. 4 times the energy isn't 4 times the crushing. 8 times the energy isn't 8 times the crushing.
So what sense does it make? How does it do work then? So what is 4 times the crushing? What does do 4 times the crushing? What amount of energy is required to do 4 times the crushing? You explain that to me, you piece of shit. Go ahead, explain it to me. Explain how 2 pounds weighs 4 pounds. Oh, this is such an idiot.
As you crush something, it becomes harder to crush.
And you prove that where?
The force increases over distance.
So again, no proof of any of that. So obviously the clay argument can be made that now it gets easier to crush, frankly, because the clay starts getting displaced and it's elastic and it sticks to each other. So in some sense it gets easier to crush if it's not in a container, obviously. Obviously it's like a non-compressible liquid if you put it in a container. But you have no evidence of any of this horseshit you're saying, that something's harder to crush. And in the Mythbuster example of the car crash, let's understand it was perfect, like perfectly twice the crushing. It wasn't like 2.4, 2.7. I mean, their claim was it was supposed to be 4 times the crushing. That's their claim. If the energy was to be seen, that's what it should have been seen as. It should have done that. And they're claiming it couldn't because of some resistant force. And it's just a coincidence that the resisting force was exactly at twice the crushing. Just like the ballistic pendulum. It's just a coincidence that it always collects almost all of the momentum and never collects any kinetic energy extra beyond the momentum. So even though the kinetic energy is 2,000, well, if the momentum's only 2, that's all it collects is 2. And somehow it's just a coincidence that it knows not to be 3. Yeah, no, out of 2,000. I mean, this is such horse shit.
So the Mythbusters perfectly showed kinetic energy.
There's no way to defend the theory if you recognize this will be an absolute truth. By Newton's laws.
But it's not an absolute truth. It's not Newton's laws. It's not what Newton said. It's not what happens in...
Okay, so he's saying it's not what Newton said, when clearly Newton said twice the force, twice the springs. He's going to say twice the velocity, 3 times the springs, 3 times the force, 3 times the velocity. So it is exactly what Newton said. So you're just such a fucking liar.
Reality. It's not what physically happens in the real world.
And there's not going to be 9 times anything. It's not 9 times the work to produce the action, and it's not...
No, because you can't make free energy. You didn't put 9 times the energy in, so you're not going to get it out, are you?
9 times the capacity to do anything. And that's the truth, and I shouldn't have to make these videos over and over.
So, again, there's just no way around the fact that obviously there's the squared unit of force put in. He's not going to account for it existing. He's not going to account for the real result of it, which won't be 1.75. So it's all just lying. He's not acknowledging what the experiment will actually produce. And he knows, I think everybody knows, it doesn't take 25 times the fuel to go 5 times as fast or to spin something 5 times as fast. And this is the same argument. Their theory is ludicrous. You don't see it in reality. 3 times the force does not produce 1.75 the velocity.
And I shouldn't have to plead.
Motion.
I shouldn't have to go through all this nonsense to get reasonable.
No, you shouldn't have to.
That's not what Newton said, right? I mean, Newton clearly didn't say 3 times the force, 1.75 times the motion. He didn't say that.
Make these arguments over and over because you should learn what you're talking about, and then you wouldn't make... Well, they're not arguments, that's it. They're just not arguments. They're just vacuous, ignorant statements that you make because you know nothing.
Until there's somebody willing to make a rational argument explaining how anything I'm saying in these videos, anything I'm describing is inaccurate. All I can do is keep making the argument saying, why won't they respond?
So a physicist won't say what you're saying because a physicist has a reputation, so they're not going to be able to say Newton was wrong, and that and there's no way to say that the kinetic energy theory demands that 3 times the force is only 1.75 times the velocity, and it doesn't happen. Just like 25 times the fuel does not, you don't need 25 times the fuel to spin something 5 times as fast. You only need 5 times. 5 times is a lot. I mean, 1 gallon, 2 gallon, 3 gallon, 4 gallon, 5, 5 gallons is a lot more gasoline than 1 gallon. They think it's 25 times, 25 gallons of fuel to go 5 times faster. I mean, it's imbecilically silly. It is imbecilic. I mean, there's no way, it's just so silly that we know it doesn't happen. I can't see how a reasonable person on this earth who's ever picked up a screwdriver could believe it's true.
People have responded time and time again, like I say, even with physical proof.
Alright, so no, we don't have. It's just this gigantic void in the evidence pool. I mean, where the fuck is my scale? Come on. It's gotta be right here somewhere. I just had it. Fuck. Well, anyway, I turned the scale sideways. This is such a fundamental experiment. You turn the scale, right? You can measure the weight this way. Just turn the scale this way, and then you push things into it at a velocity. Give them an impact velocity. Let them hit the scale, see what their impulse weight is. And I'm arguing the absolute fact is you'll figure out exactly what your gravitational momentum is, because there's a speed, 1 mile an hour, where an elephant will weigh an elephant and a mouse will weigh a mouse. Absolute fact. They haven't done any of these experiments. None of them. They've had no, no curiosity, no real interest at all. They haven't done a Joule tank experiment in over 150 years. Because they don't want the truth.
And that's still no good for you because you're a fucking moron.
And you're a fucking menace to intelligence. And you're proving what idiocracy looks like. It looks like this moron. You're the poster child for the destruction of human civilization.
None of them have enough integrity to explain how I am saying things that are incorrect. Where have I misquoted the history or the truth?
People have shown you where you're incorrect.
Oh, liar, liar, liar. People have shown. What have they shown? They've shown nothing. Show me where Newton said 9.8 meters per second square. Show me. You liar.
Time and time again, but you're unable to accept that you're wrong.
Oh, you're just a liar. You're just a horrible, disgusting liar.
Oh.
Actually believe it takes 25 times the fuel, okay, or force, to move something 5 times the velocity. I don't think any of you really believe that's true. I don't think any of you actually believe.
That's a hell of a lot of projection here.
Projection? What projection is? Yeah, the projection is, I don't believe you think that's true. That's right. I think you have picked up a pair of pliers. I think you do know, yeah, it doesn't take 25 times the fuel to go 50 miles an hour in my car.
None of us believe it. Well, no. What you're stating there is incorrect anyway.
Why is it incorrect? How is it incorrect? That's exactly what the kinetic energy formula requires. You can't get free energy. So if you're going to get 25 times the work out of 5 times the velocity, that's your theory, then it's got to take 25 times the fuel to create that mechanism. You can't unwind that into any other thing but an absolute truth. So yes, this is exactly what your theory says must be true. It's an absolute fact by your theory.
So we don't believe it because you're talking nonsense again.
All right, so, there's no point, right? It's a mathematical necessity. You could just start with 2 times the velocity, 4 times the force. Well, that means 2 times the velocity requires 4 times the force. 3 times the velocity requires 9 times the force. 4 times the velocity requires 16 times the force. You just can't unwind that any other way. You're so dishonest.
MV is absolutely brilliant. It's a fantastic way to understand reality. And all you can do is take things with a big mass.
The thing is, you're saying MV is everything. Alright? That's a mass with a velocity.
Right. And the mass is the carrier of the velocity. And the velocity is always proportional to how much mass it's got to push. And that's the nature of force in the universe. The force is always it always has a carrier. And the simple truth is that you add up the masses to decide how much force you can carry, or you will be carried based on the velocity. It takes 2 units of force to make a hunk of mass move twice the speed.
And you think that's the fundamental thing? Well, it's...
Yeah, that's what Galileo, Descartes, and Newton all thought. It's the only thing. They didn't imagine anything else. That was the only force they understood, was quantity of motion, momentum.
Not, is it? It physically is not. Because for a mass to have a velocity, you have to apply a force to it.
Oh, duh. So, and it's proportional, as Newton said. 1 unit of force, 1 unit of velocity. 2 units of force, 2 units of... again, it's just such an overt insult to Newton, the greatest physicist, scientist in the history of mankind. And it's just this overt lying about what he said and what he believed.
And that force causes, a net force in a net direction causes that mass to accelerate.
It keeps talking about acceleration. It's a change in velocity. Yes, it causes it to change the velocity, the motion. And as Newton said, twice the force, twice the motion, 3 times the force, 3 times the motion. So again, he just keeps evading the consequence of the simple mechanics, that it's always proportional. Mass and velocity are equal players in the definition of your capacity to do work. More mass means you've collected more force. Heavy things hit the ground and go boom. Even though they fell at the same speed, they collected a lot more force because they have more mass to collect it with.
That direction for a period of time. When the acceleration is finished, you now have a mass moving a velocity. So what you believe is fundamental isn't.
So how did he explain it's not fundamental? You have a mass with a velocity. That's fundamental, but it's not fundamental. I mean, it's an irrational pile of mush. What the fuck did I just do? I have no idea. So how do I guess if I just X that out, it should put the video back, right? No. Thank you. Oh, shit.
Demonstrations and drawings and all of that stuff.
And fuck.
Inversions. So you can understand that gravity, it takes the little things.
Okay, so we'll go back a little bit. Oh, come on. Oh, fuck. You two fucking cunt. Alright, let's see. Oh, still won't work. Alright, gonna have to reload it, I guess. Again. Come on, tab. Come on. Shit. Copy the link. Close that tab because it's not gonna work. Open a new tab. Put in the address. I did switch my video card to the much more energy efficient card. So maybe it's screwing up how it really shouldn't, because all this stuff should be running off my memory in the computer and not the video card. But
so here we go again. Time for yet.
Why do none of them have enough integrity to explain how I am saying things that are incorrect? Where have I missed? All I can do is keep making the argument, saying, why won't they respond?
What the hell is this?
People have responded time and time again, like I say, even with physical proof.
Okay, so that didn't happen.
Absolutely brilliant. It's a fantastic way to understand reality. And all you can do is take things with a big mass.
So he's jump-cutted here. All right, so he's... See, I thought he was going to argue this, you know, this rolling argument, and apparently he jump-cutted right over the whole thing. Ah, I didn't know that. Well, that just takes all the fun out of this. I was hoping to get to that argument. I mean, I moused over it, and I thought that's what he was going to respond to. So he didn't respond to that one at all. What a weasel. So this is the rolling one. I used all three velocities just to make it more and more ludicrous. So let me go. Let me see where the switch happens.
I am saying things that are incorrect. Where have I misquoted the history or the truth?
People have shown you where you're incorrect time and time again, but you're unable to accept that you're wrong.
Yeah, liar.
Actually believe there's 25 times the fuel. Okay.
Yeah, so he jumped over the entire subject. That's really just so weaselly. Ooh. So I don't know what the rest of this video is about, so let's see.
Force to move something 5 times the velocity. I don't think any of you really believe that's true. I don't think any of you actually believe.
That's a hell of a lot of projection here that none of us believe it. Well, no. What you're stating there is incorrect anyway. So we don't believe it because you're talking nonsense again.
MV is absolutely brilliant. It's a fantastic way to understand reality. And all you can do is take things with a big mass.
The thing is, you're saying MV is everything. Alright? That's a mass with a velocity. And you think that's the fundamental thing. Well, it's not, is it? It physically is not. Because for a mass to have a velocity, you have to apply a force to it.
Alright, so I could play Professor Lewin right here saying, well, nature can deal with kinetic energy one way or another, but nature can't finagle momentum. He obviously thinks momentum's more elemental. You know, but obviously he thinks there's such a thing as unmomentum, so again, it's just too ridiculous. Anti, you know, negative momentum? No, I'm sorry, there's no such thing.
And that force causes, you know, a net force in a net direction causes that mass to accelerate.
Alright, so let's just understand. He's denying the unavoidable mathematical consequences of his own theory. He's claiming that it doesn't take 25 times the fuel to go 5 times as fast. He's claiming that, no, that's not what the theory says. When it's a mathematical necessity. You can't evade it mathematically. So that's how low he's going. is that he's pretending that, yes, the ludicrous thing doesn't happen. He's admitting the ludicrous thing doesn't happen, but he's not recognizing that he has an obligation to explain why the ludicrous thing didn't happen, because it's what his theory predicts. Absolutely predicts. Unavoidably predicts.
Accelerate in that direction for a period of time. When the acceleration is finished, you now have a mass moving a velocity. So what you believe is fundamental isn't, because F equals ma, the force has to accelerate the mass.
So again, it doesn't have anything to do with impulse and net forces. Absolutely nothing, any ma crap, because it just can't matter. You either transfer the energy or you don't. There's no who cares what speed you transfer it at. Who cares how you transfer it? Again, the Newton's cradle happens in what could be considered milliseconds, if seconds at all. There is no acceleration. The one ball hits the other ball takes off at the peak velocity. It doesn't accelerate. Nothing slows down and then speeds up. None of that happens. It transfers the energy directly. The 25 volts, if it was electricity, goes directly into the other object. There is no 24, 23, 22. There's no no volt circumstance. All right. Where are we now? Oh, the chat. That's what I want to check. It's loud enough. Okay. All right. So I'll just block you. I mean, why do you have to keep bringing up this family stuff? Why do you have to keep invading my personal life? Why is this important to you? You fucking creeps. Why? I'll give you a chance to answer the question. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. All right. So wow is really useless. So no, let's just time you out. Because frankly, wow. What's that? It's not an argument of any kind. Humans can be so terrible. Yes, doxing should be criminal, especially if you want privacy. And it's not. It's not even, like I said. It's not about me. I wouldn't care less if I didn't live in somebody else's house and they'd have to pay the price for it. Do you understand? So it puts them in an awkward position, and it puts me in one, in a sense, because now I have to apologize, for imposing on them because of these lunatics. I mean, that's not how it should work. I shouldn't, my project shouldn't threaten my neighbors. My project shouldn't threaten anybody else. And the fact is it does. And that shouldn't be a fact. I should be able to speak my fucking mind, all right, without being harassed, without being swatted by the goddamn fucking police, without having people send takeout food to my goddamn fucking house. And how you should be able to have a phone that I can actually use. You fuckers. All right. Let's see. I might be able to provoke. I can science that to respond. Well, go ahead. Yeah, you can believe that you can, but he won't address the subject. Come on, I already went through all this email with him, and he couldn't possibly stay on the subject. So go ahead and just tell him, like the latest video with the anti-momentum. Just ask him to draw what I drew and explain how it really works. All right. With his own drawing. Yes, as long as it's the same experiment, for fuck's sake. If he's going to draw something else, then fuck it. No point. That's a Pyrrho move. God damn. It really is just, I just didn't realize that so much of the human race was scum. It just wasn't what I thought. I thought just some bad eggs and some bad apples got into power, and things got a little shitty, and generally speaking, humans want the truth. They want Walter Cronkite to tell them the truth. They want to live in a true-averse. They don't want to live with comforting liars. They don't want commercials about smearing poo on your ass. I mean, it was funny that, people used to be a little bit, it used to be a little awkward because they would show commercials for tampons at the dinner hour, compared to what they're showing now. I saw one tonight for some loony Muslim guy, or I don't know, I could have, he must have been a loony Muslim, where they're trying to create their own little Muslim village somewhere. It's like he's soliciting people to join the Muslim club. Oh, it was just outrageously. It's like these are, it's like these people are actually psychotic, and so there's commercials by psychotic people now.
For it to have a velocity, to have momentum, to have kinetic energy.
So all more baby talk, to have magical kinetic energy that nobody can see, and it can't be tested, it can't be collected, it can't do any work. But you all believe in the scalar super energy, the living force. That's what it was called. It was called the living force all the way up to like 1840.
That's what the universe does constantly. That's what it's preoccupied doing, is constantly making these conversions. So you can understand that gravity, it takes the little things and makes the big giant thing. And the explosive supernova goes from big giant thing to little tiny things moving. And that's all there is.
So you got to ask the question, why did he bother with this video when he just jumped over this whole fucking segment explaining friction? Just wiped it all out. Why? Why did he bother doing that?
In the universe is these exchanges between big things moving, being converted into little things moving, and then little things moving.
Fundamentally, all there is in the universe is mass and forces acting upon them. That is the fundamental thing that you...
Yeah, and that's exactly what Newton just pointed out. Again, wait, how many times do I have to repeat it? I mean, he said it right under the second law. Twice the velocity, twice the force, twice the motion. 3 times the force, 3 times the motion. I mean, you're such a liar.
You deny.
And there is no 1/2 mv squared thing. That's a religious concept. It's a dogmatic holy ghost right in the middle of physics. There's no proof of it. There's no even evidence of it. There's no reasonable indication it's true.
There's plenty of evidence, and you've seen it, and you can just keep lying.
So no, you're the liar. Okay, we know the evidence is all these rickety things with bad filming. Look at all those air track videos are just such a waste where they don't even tell you the mass of the carts. You're filming it from a 45-degree angle. You can't even see the ruler underneath the damn carts to do frame rates. And even if you want to do frame rates, it'd be pointless because they're all at 15 frames per second. I mean, get fucking real. And then when the Mythbusters did the experiment, both with clay and with cars, no, just nothing. Not even a glimmer of kinetic energy theory being correct. Not a glimmer.
No experiments, none whatsoever. Physics has never dropped a 1 mass 4 units of distance and a 4 mass 1 unit of distance and proven that...
I don't know if science has done it, but I know I fucking did, and I know you fucking seen it.
And I pointed out that you don't have the springs nailed down. You don't have them flattened. You never tested them for what weights they can even tolerate. And besides that, you have them sliding on a stick that you can hear. Zzz, zzz. You can hear the friction, for fuck's sake. And you're saying you accounted for all of that somewhere. You didn't test any velocities whatsoever. So it's all just bullshit that you did anything.
We're squirming in your chair, nervous fucking coughing, and coming up with all the bullshit excuses under the sun. You've seen it, dipshit.
I've seen shit is what I've seen.
Unequal momentums, weigh the same.
And again, I've done some of these experiments myself, like the lever launcher and whatnot, and pointed out the obvious that it's hard to get good measurements of all this stuff. That's why you need them to be done by science. Scientists needs to do it with a real high-speed camera. Okay, not a interpolated, iPhone, Android.
Create the same impact event. That you can have 2 different momentums and somehow you have an outcome that will be exactly the same. That doesn't happen. It's a violation of the...
Right, so that's what they won't explain. How can things with 2 different momentums, right? Twice as much momentum. One object has twice as much momentum, and we're supposed to believe they're going to hit the quarterback with the same impact. So something has twice the momentum, it's going to hit the quarterback. And we're supposed to believe that the two things will have the same effect on the quarterback. What a pile of shit.
It does happen. I've even shown you in just a 1 minute fucking debunk video.
Yeah, garbage, right. I'm not interested in any 1 minute video of anything ever. Okay, so if you can't do better than that. And again, is there anything in that proving anything about any of the variables in your experiment? Obviously not. Waste of time, 1 minute videos. 1 minute science videos should be against the law.
The same momentums doing different amounts of work.
Where did you show that?
That the light object going faster.
Where did you show that? You measured the actual velocities of something and proved different momentums doing a different amount of. I mean, the same momentum doing different amounts of work, or different momentums doing the same amount of work. You showed that somewhere. Liar, you did not.
Somehow has twice the same amount of energy. It ain't true, just as it ain't true that there's 9 times the heat in this ground and that there's 4 times the heat in this ground.
Just proclaiming something that you don't like isn't true, and some bullshit you made up as an absolute fact.
Right, so that's all I'm saying to you, and it's proven Leibniz just made it up. It's proven he don't have any experiments, so he didn't do any experiments. So again, you're the fucking bullshitter, pretending you have credible evidence somewhere. I've pointed out the flaw in the de Châtelet experiment. Are you going to argue that it's not a flaw? Brozo proved the flaw. When he allowed the objects to penetrate into the clay, he didn't get the 4 times answer anymore. And you know that for a fact. You know for a fact that his own lever launcher didn't produce 1.4.
That doesn't make either of those true statements.
I haven't said anything that isn't absolutely true. I mean, it won't.
Okay, so his argument is there's 4 times the heat in the ground, and yet he hasn't. When you roll something twice as fast, you put 4 times the heat into the ground. Is there any? Do you have any? Has he shown any evidence? Zero, nothing. Just talk.
Rationally accept that these facts prove that this theory ain't true. Again.
But they aren't facts. They're just shit that you made up and drew a picture about.
And I really shouldn't have to make these videos to an audience.
It's not true. I didn't just draw a picture. I pointed out where half the velocity is, and I pointed out how that's a huge asymmetry. I made the comparable arguments to sliding over thin ice. I made arguments supporting this truth, that this is 1 unit of gravity. It's only 9.8 meters per 1 second over this whole area, and it's 9.8 meters per second over this small area. And it's just an obvious fact that weight for a less time is less weight, because it takes time to weigh something. I mean, he's arguing that somehow it's not a valid argument to make that, you could put a scale in the path and just run something across the scale. And if you run it really slow, it'll weigh its full weight. And if you run it really fast, it'll weigh a fraction of its weight. Absolute fact. Are you denying the absolute facts that are part of that argument that you jumped over? That you didn't challenge, that you didn't counter-argue, that you evaded, clearly?
Is interested in science and specifically physics. I shouldn't have to keep making these arguments month after month, year after year, and get rubbish and trash as a response. Somebody should be able to draw this and explain where I said something inaccurate. Because this is accurate, and everything I said...
Why the fuck would we draw it when we can show you the experiment? We can show you what physics...
he doesn't have this experiment. So again, where do you have this experiment? Where do you have the experiment where you measure how much heat is in this ground? Or you measure how much weight is being applied per square inch? Where did you put a scale in here and measure how much weight per square inch is hitting the ground? Where did you do any of that, you lying sack of shit?
Happens in the real world, because that's physics, physical things, physical phenomena, what really happens physically when you try these
we know
things.
We have no evidence of any of this horse shit. I mean, this is just so disgusting that these mouthpieces will talk this rubbish as if they've proven any of this. Never repeated the Eddington experiment. They never saw a quark. All of this stuff is just made up shit. And it started with Leibniz, and it hasn't, and Einstein just doubled down on bullshit, and it's just been bullshit all the way down. All the way
You like
up.
pretty pictures, okay. If that's the only way you can understand things.
Yes, it's the only rational way to understand it, because all of physics is basically force geometry. It's all forces and vectors, and it really does need to be drawn. It's a drawable relationship things have to each other. You can draw it, and you should draw it. Have you heard of blueprints, idiot? You know, it's something people do all the time when they want to engineer something correctly, is they draw it.
You're fucked doing physics, aren't you?
I just never imagined that in doing this project, first the real argument was the double slit experiment.
Project? That would infer that you're actually trying to do something rather than just talk shit.
Then I stumbled across this kinetic energy theorem.
All right, the fact is I have done something. So again, especially on the double slit, I've diagrammed the entire real pattern. I've debunked the notion that this is some pattern that goes infinitely or any of the other crap. The illusions they create with their bad presentation of the fucking physical event. So he's defending Feynman's little sloppy drawings. He's this is just he's such a horrible human being. I really shouldn't play these videos. He's just a horrible liar. Defending religion. This isn't physics. This isn't science. It's religion. 25 times the fuel to go 5 times as fast is a holy ghost and nothing more. It's insensible nonsense.
Thing and just amazed. I was amazed that physicists actually believe this crap.
Yeah, you stumbled across it and completely misunderstood it.
So bullshit. Fuck you.
And you still do.
Yeah, you still can't make an
The more
argument.
research you do, the more it proves itself to be nonsense. Again, the guy who invented it, the guy who first promoted it.
Research? What research have you done?
Let's say, produced no experimental evidence. I mean, I could go through it.
And again, you...
It's surprising. He's talking about me not doing any research. Did you read Eddington's journal? I did. Have you read Leibniz's papers? I have. Have you read de Chardonnay's book? I have. What research have you done, you shit?
You keep saying this when there's mountains of experimental evidence that people have provided to you, and like I say, you can find, but you don't.
So there's no experimental evidence done by anybody credible, any experimentalist you could have any faith or confidence in. So, matchbook cars with fucking bananas tied to them crashed into soda crackers. That's the nonsense they call good science.
Want to see? Because you don't want to burst your little fucking bubble.
I shouldn't have to keep doing this.
And they've been caught so many times fucking it up, mismeasuring, getting things wrong, and they don't even take down those videos. So they say something idiotic, completely idiotic, and they leave the video up.
Pleading with their physics to give me some kind of counter-argument relevant to the subject.
People argue right on topic, and you can't handle it, so it's all, I ain't got time for this bullshit, and off you go.
Draw what I have drawn and explain where I said something inaccurate.
I've just explained where you've said a whole load of shit inaccurately, and again...
So let's understand, he didn't say, he said it doesn't go 3 times as fast. Did he say it goes 1.75? Because that's what his theory predicts.
And why draw a picture when we can show you what really happens in reality?
So none of these 2 experiments have anything to do with anything he's shown in reality.
In the physical world.
Yeah, no, you haven't done that, liar.
What's the story going to be? It's going to be this preposterous story that somebody did good work, did good analysis, and was completely abused and mistreated for his trouble.
You did good work. What have you done? You've done absolutely nothing. You sit on your fucking back. So
this is more bullshit, right? I mean, I have a simulation that duplicates charge. So if you go to my website, there's one called the simulation, and it perfectly is duplicating Maxwellian charges, their function, with the simplest rules you can imagine. I mean, short of 1 plus 1 physics, it's 2 plus 2 plus 3 physics. 2 kinds of force, 2 kinds of matter, 3 kinds of interactions, and you can create attraction and repulsion. Perfectly simulate magnetism and charge.
Side, and talk shit.
Well, hey, let's do this serious. Let's do this testing thing. Let's figure out the truth and get it right. That's what they're supposed to be believing in.
Yeah, and they did. Centuries ago.
They don't believe in experiments. They don't believe in redoing them. They don't believe in any of that. They just believe in their...
So they deny the law of the lever, the 2,000-year-old Archimedes statement about how levers work. They deny it works that way. Somehow the 2 mass going 1v will not create a 1 mass going 2v. It'll create a 1 mass going 1.4 and destroy the momentum. That's their theory. It's crap, it's rubbish, it doesn't happen in reality.
Faith in their scientific leaders to tell them what they should think, because it's all too complicated. This is apparently too complicated, so people can't understand somehow. Wait, no, it isn't that complicated.
Oh, so now your genius is that complicated that, regular, well-educated...
Yeah, well, you're obviously morons. You think friction is always the same regardless of velocity? That would be an idiotic thing to state as true. Clearly, velocity reduces friction. Clearly. In gravity. A friction perpendicular to the motion. Any friction caused by a perpendicular force, okay, and it doesn't matter what that force is, paint spray, water, wind, it doesn't matter what it is, it will always be less per inch force applied to the object, completely dependent on velocity, because all of them are time-dependent forces. The paint coming out of a can is a time-dependent force. Gravity is a time-dependent force. Absolute fact. 9.8 meters per second of increase in velocity per 1 second. That's the explicit true formula. There isn't any other formula. That's the only one there is. It comes in time-dependent units.
Physicists can't understand your genius. Okay.
No, guys, I've done my job. I can't do anything else but sit there and plead with you to please be reasonable. Please try to be reasonable. Make a little bit of effort to be reasonable. Hate me all you want.
Why should we be reasonable? You're not.
That's a great comeback.
If you can't
hilarious. So there's something, like I said, all of these videos are presented, okay, and I'm not saying Falwell licks his mother's vagina or something. I'm not making insults in these videos. I'm just arguing the physics. And you can't just argue physics, can you? You can't just argue the physics. You can't just draw your drawing and explain where my drawing has a mistake in it. You can't do that simple fucking task. Because you are cretins. And you are morons. And you can't throw anything logical, so you have to throw spit and nonsense. You piece of garbage.
Dish it out, you fucking wet wipe.
But love the truth. Honor the truth. Fight for the truth. Don't sit there and...
We all have. It's you can't handle the truth.
Well, we all
the giants
are.
Of physics, once presented with this argument, I don't think they go, oh, that can't be possible.
We've got the overt lies. Our theory doesn't say it takes 25 times the fuel to spin something 5 times as fast. Absolutely their theory. Newton believed in kinetic energy. No, Newton said twice the force, twice the motion. 3 times the force, 3 times the motion. You fucking liars. 9.8 meters per second over 1 second. That's the gravitational formula. It's not second squared.
Possible. Yeah, I don't think that would be their right reaction. But that's getting them to honestly look.
No, I think they'd probably just fucking laugh.
No, the fact is, the entire kinetic energy theory is completely disposable because it's absolute nonsense, and the golden rule is momentum. That's what the universe is converting all the time. Big M's and little V's into big V's and little M's and vice versa. That's all that happens in this frickin' universe. You should be ashamed of yourself for defending something else, frankly. It's so obvious that momentum controls the universe.
To you, apparently. When again, it's not fundamental. Velocity need.
That's enough, right? Why bother listening to the last sentence? Oh, too ridiculous. Just too ridiculous. Okay. So, yeah, where else to go here? So I guess I'll watch the rest of that despicable character's video, see if he actually makes an argument. But I don't think he's going to draw what I drew and explain anything. I don't think he's going to explain how it takes 25 times the fuel to go 5 times as fast. I don't think he's going to touch any of the real subject in his video. Apparently all he wants to do is dox and Google me live in a video. I mean, which is pretty disgusting. I mean, I've really never seen anybody do that before. You know, what if I had kids? You know, what if? You know, I mean, you people are just so, you really are just disgusting. I mean, you're really disgusting. That, you know, you just can't think that, well, yeah, my obligation to explain why what his physics is explain how the physics is wrong. You know, why are you engaging in the rest of this nonsense? I mean, why do I have a channel name if you're not going to use it? I mean, what's the point of it? Just amazing. So let's see if there's any chat. I guess there probably won't be, so there probably would be no reason to hang around, I guess. I could play some other videos, but, you know. So, yes, nothing much. Yes, Falwell evaded. Obviously, he just jumped over one of the arguments for no good reason. So, let's see. Maybe I could just go to my channel and, let's see. I mean, I'd show you the Val, whatever his name is, your page I made, but it's really not made for prime time. So, you know, if you go to draftphysics.com, there's a link there at the top. You know, and I gave him back some Photoshop fun. So if we're going to Photoshop each other, well, I figure I'll give him his fair portion. And again, it's clear who started it. So it's just no, you know, I mean, what do you do? You know, what do you do when somebody is just that obnoxious? I mean, you really aren't given any choices, are you, except to fight back in some way? I mean, evil must be punished and all that kind of crap. I mean, they shouldn't get away with it. So, yeah, but it really is a dark, ugly scene he's creating. And it has nothing to do with anything I did. There's no email I sent. There's no bullshit, nothing. He's the one that constantly wants to accelerate this into a, you know, penis measuring contest. Literally. It's just disgusting. But it does, you know, just kind of verify what I'm noticing is that physicists aren't all that. You know, I used to have such a high regard for the science of physics and for the people who were physicists. And you're finding out that any cretin can be a physicist. I mean, any kind of moronic, you know, menace to civilization. And that's pretty disgusting. Oh, I should see what the comments are on the video. Alright, let me make sure I got all the newest first. You have to always do. Okay, so Dispar says, I've been thinking about making a simulation. Whatever. And there once was someone who made a simulation of a pendulum collision, 1-to-3 mass ratio. Yeah, well, you could just make up anything, right? The only difference between your simulation and mine is going to be I'm saying that it's going with 1/4 the velocity, and you say it's 1/2 the velocity. That's the only difference. It's not going to look any different at all. It's not going to move any faster at all. It's going to be exactly the same, except you're saying it goes further out than I'm saying. That's it. Let's see. Based on his model, and it didn't look natural at all. So if he did it right, it should look exactly the same, except the balls don't move as far. So exactly the same thing happens. They just don't go as far. Except for the one mass, always, you know, gaining the full velocity back. And again, that's their theory. So, I mean, I did the video, right? He makes this comment. Well, this is 2 weeks ago. Okay. So we'll cut him slack. So I hadn't made all the anti-momentum videos when this comment was made. I mean, clearly the anti-momentum video, the two of them now, I just don't see how they're going to weasel their way out of it. Go ahead and draw it and explain where my drawings you can fix what I made a mistake in how I drew it. You lying sacks of scum. Let's see. Now, what if we could make it bigger? Well, duh. That's exactly what physicist Michael bought the parts. He was supposed to do it, and that's when he quit interacting on the internet. So he built it, and it was a little wobbly, so apparently he did some testing, and it didn't come out his way, we think, right? If the results were anywhere near what he wanted them to be, he would have published, even if it was a little wobbly. So clearly the wobble somehow, in his opinion, was the cause of the results not coming out the way he wanted them to. And then he just went silent. You don't think that's evidence of anything at all? Again, it's another coincidence. It's just a coincidence that he stopped interacting on the internet right when he invested in a big giant Newton's cradle. Alright, simulation of reality where every collision is based on his conversion of momentum, and then show him how unnatural that would look like. So again, I've already pointed out there's nothing unnatural. You do it with, each mass is going to create a different ratio of division of the momentum. And it just happens in the 1 to 3 case, 75% is going one way and 25% of the momentum is going the other way, and that equals the 3 to 1 relationship. You have 3 units on one side and 1 unit of velocity on the other side, 1 unit of momentum. So it clearly makes sense, and each one of them will do a different thing. It's your physics that hasn't done any of these experiments, right? Why wouldn't you think that the science of physics would really meticulously document pendulums? Start with a 1 mass and a 1 mass, and then just start incrementally making the mass bigger and bigger, and clearly documenting exactly what happens in each case. Why wouldn't real science do that? All right. Every collision is based on his, show him how, okay, we already did that. Unfortunately, I have no clue how to make simulations right now. yeah. It's not that easy. I guess I really should try seeing if the AI will write the program for me, and then I can learn how to do it at the same time as doing it. Because I have enough knowledge of JavaScript to get by. We need some kind of video game based on his physics. So again, I already have the simulation based on my physics, and it obviously does everything that it's supposed to do, which is it makes dipoles. It makes atomic nucleuses. Alright, 2 replies. I remember watching a video once about Descartes, and they animated his ideas of motion. It looked very odd indeed. So I don't know where this is. Be nice if you had a link. If I come across it again, I'll share it. Yes, thank you. Interesting idea to simulate Goofy's wonderful world of momentum. He would probably say it looks right to him. LOL. Yeah, conservation of momentum looks right. It does look pretty good to me. It always makes pretty good sense to me. I have no clue how to do this like that either. I wonder if there are any existing physics simulators where you can just simply change the parameters of the settings menu to see how weird it would look in Goofy's world. So again, they think conserving momentum would look weird. You're just saying, weird how? How would it look weird if the bowling ball hits a pin and the pin leaves with an amount of momentum and the ball slows down by exactly the same amount of momentum lost? How exactly would that look silly? It's like the money argument. It's like me saying, okay, I have $50 and something bumps into me, then I lose some money. $5 here, $10 there, $15. How would that look silly? I mean, a pool table, for fuck's sake, is Newton's mechanics. I mean, all you need to do is change the size of the masses, and then you can play your kinetic energy game and say, well, we lost 99.94% of the kinetic energy because the kinetic energy won't be conserved. your simulation will look silly. Dispar, your real life videos about the collision are pretty good, whatever that means, but if you still want a simulation, you could ask AI how to do it. Yeah, you could. Alright, stop persecuting his honorable man, Michael. So this is, Brozo just writes so much crap that's just so useless. He's drawn the facts and written the pictures, yet no one will answer. No one will do the experiments. Yeah, and I'm willing to pay them to do the drawing. So let's understand, the videos have a clear statement. How much do I have to pay you? I'll pay you. So if you can draw what I drew and then explain it differently than I explained it, do so. You know, put your credibility on the line. I mean, all these people who are going to insult me and insult my intelligence, and they can't make these simple videos. They can't make a 10-minute video explaining how they think it works. You can't do that, Brozo. You can't just make a 10-minute video explaining how you think the experiment with the two masses sitting in space, okay, they don't have enough gravity to smash right into each other, so they're just going to sit there, and you're just going to put energy inside between the two of them. It's going to bounce and bounce and bounce and bounce and bounce and bounce and bounce. Why don't you explain to me exactly what happens? You fucking little weasel. You can't do that? You don't have that functionality? You can't videotape, you can't point a camera at a white piece of paper? You fucking weasel. Why we should have to keep explaining day after day, year after year, well, whatever. I can't be the only one who could hear a tiny violin. Oh, so all this is just... And, okay, this is where, you know, when I make the assertion that, you know, frankly, to the future, it really is worth it to put all of these assholes in an unhonorable grave and to put an outhouse on top of it, because they deserve it. This is the kind of human that is the real menace, the hidden disease. These are, you know, neuron killers. All right, and then he literally blah 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 blah. Waste of time. No science arguments here at all. That half mv squared doesn't work, but mv does. Yes, that's the truth. What's wrong with the whirlwind? There's just nothing here. Man starting facts he is actually written down isn't taken seriously. It's not about being taken seriously. It's about you having the integrity, instead of just saying I'm wrong, showing I'm wrong. Show it. Draw it, fucker. Draw something going twice as fast across the surface and explain how it's the same friction. Every single inch it's the same friction no matter what the speed is. Go ahead and explain that, and then explain why it's going half its velocity 3/4 down the track. Explain those things, you fucking weasel. You coward, you disgusting shit-talking coward. Let's see, 10 to 20, should have blah, blah, blah. What facts? You don't have any facts. With every repeat, it obviously gets truer and truer, blah, 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 thousand. So and all you have to do is counter it. You debunk me, I'm debunked. Can you do it? No, you can't do it. You can't do an in-kind video and simply explain your wonderful philosophy, okay, in a drawing and explain how it works. How it makes rational sense that something with 150 momentums crashes into something with 50 momentums and somehow only 100 pops out. Go ahead and explain how that mechanically is possible. All right, that's very nearly, I mean, it's obviously not possible because car crashes are made out of the fact that they either both fly off or if you're going to crunch them, if they're not going to be elastic, if I had the same momentum, 50-50, none of the energy disappears. I either get 100 out, or if it's inelastic, I get 100 crushings. Duh! I mean, Mythbusters, again, absolutely proved that one. You're just, I rest my case. You don't have any case. You're just such a weasel. Alright, it's very sad that he is now begging and pleading to be made a fool of. Oh, Jesus Christ. You would think he would have had enough. No, yeah, enough of what? let's just isolate Dispar's argument again. He said somewhere in my physics I was arguing that you could levitate an object in gravity and it doesn't move by some magical mechanism. It just floats. He's desperate for recognition. Oh, this is just such a waste of my time. No, I'm desperate for the truth to actually be respected somewhere on this planet. I'm sure in court, if you wanted to get off scot-free, so this is the exact argument. They're at trial. They've had 350 years to produce a piece of evidence, and there's nothing on the table. They got soda crackers and, Matchbox cars with bananas tied to them. They got shit. 350 years to prove something, and they haven't done any work at all to prove it. Alright, the John Walker guy is just such an idiot. No worries for the video, John. I know it'd be completely incomprehensible to Goofy. Well, it was very comprehensible that you just completely jumped right over the physics argument. Everybody could see you do that. Now that it's absolute fact, Michael, there's pretty evidence of that now, so there's nothing. So, just, these people are just such pieces of shit. Alright, so enough of that crap. It was really crap. Alright, so, I guess I will. Let's see. I could use my little DS thing here. It should get me to graph physics. Yeah. Alright. And then from here, I probably should just link to... I should have a link directly to my YouTube channel on here somewhere. I really should put that on here somewhere. So that's not exactly what I want to do. I'll just click on the video and then I'll jump to YouTube. Alright, time. And then I'll jump to my channel. Oh, it's going to do this fucking bullshit again. Alright, there it goes. And then I should be able to go to videos. And yeah, the anti-momentum. So I'll just do a quick reappraisal of these quite brilliant videos. Yeah, that will not be debunked by anyone ever, because they're very good arguments against physics as it exists, and that's just a fact. And such. Alright, chat, let's see if there's anything in here worth the trouble. Let's see, conservation of momentum is I'm leaving, okay. Oh, that's really interesting. Let's see what he said. I don't know what that is. Lives in ice, Cali, whatever this, I don't know, some sort of gibberish. Okay, just, yes, fuck off and die. Please. I'd be very grateful. What the hell are you talking about? Well, you're really brilliant. Don't make Gary read this crap. Okay, so again, waste of time. So we'll just block him. People. Let's see. Conservation of momentum is all you need. Let's see. Is the Dispar lab replaying as a 12-year-old? Role-playing. Yeah, I don't know what he's doing. This may be one of his fetishes along with that mom-son thing. Yeah, well, I had a screen name about fucking his mother or something. I thought it was interesting. It's sort of weird how Dispar Lab named one of his alter ego accounts that. It seems a little more professional before that. Well, obviously he was doing it in response to something I said, so, but that's fine. I mean, it speaks for itself. Why would you do that? Even the way YouTube works, why would you invite getting yourself canceled? Let's see. Draft science haters are just cowards. Well, what they are liars. And that's the part that's really hard to take. I'll make a response video for you, Gary. Yeah, sure you will. if you pay for my college tuition. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, you know, obviously I'm not going to pay. I'm paying for the opportunity to speak to an audience. Speaking to no audience isn't something I'm going to pay very much for. So you might get $10 if you have 4 subscribers. Well then, yeah, you're probably only going to get $10. Okay. Because it's not going to be that interesting. It's not going to add value to the conversation. It's not going to add physics-interested viewers. And that's what I'm looking for. People who love science. And I mean really respect it. That's what I'm looking for. Viewers who respect science, respect the need for evidence, that respect the idea that you don't state something as proven when it hasn't been proven. All right, Zap the on Mars. Oh, okay, so I don't know who you are, but fuck you. Yeah, that's pretty good. I'll just say that. Yeah, so you know, you think it's a joke, do you? Well, fuck you. Ugh, just people are just such scum. God, I just hate this planet. Well, maybe I should go to the college website that fucking Valdi craphead works at. Right? Maybe I should Google his college, right? And we could look at all the silly fucking videos, you know, where these morons are going to college and all they can talk about is their dorm room and how nicely painted the building is and stuff. You know, it presents in all of their videos for the entire college. There's no science videos at all. So they haven't produced any science at all. It's just, it's a mockable joke. You know, I already did show, I think, an image on the website of the fact that only 4 of the entire physics department will even provided a photograph for their profile page. So none of them even want to be seen. And none of them none of them are called like Joe Morris or something. There's not a single American name, you know, anywhere on the board. You know, nothing. Anyway, but I could do that, right? Maybe I'll let that woman know that, well, if this asshole is going to keep digging into my private life, then I'm going to start fucking with your university as tit for tat. He's going to expose the people in this house to unnecessary threats, then I'll expose the university to some critiques. Yeah, so will that be a fair exchange? So keep escalating, fucker. Just keep on escalating, fucker. Just see what you get. What an asshole. Alright, so anyway. So we do have the 7 videos. So 2 of them are on momentum. So I didn't think of this better argument until I had made the other argument, which is also a perfectly good argument, about how you can't conserve momentum and have this delusion of, you know, kinetic energy. It doesn't make any sense. It creates free energy. It's idiotic. Well, the rocket one is so obvious too. I mean, it's just too obvious that there's no counter argument. You can't collect any of the kinetic energy of the exhaust. Whatever the kinetic energy of the exhaust is, you won't get any of it in your rocket, because the only thing that obeys Newton's third law is momentum. Kinetic energy doesn't obey Newton's third law. It's just an absolute fact. You know, gun bullet, another perfect example. That where's the obedience to Newton's third law? 2,000 joules goes that way, 2 joules goes that way. Where the fuck is Newton's third law? You know, it doesn't have anything to do with their kinetic energy. The momentum perfectly fits. Kinetic energy, nowhere close. Doesn't make any sense at all. You know, and then the friction argument that Falwell just totally ignored. And this is kind of a better drawing of it, actually. But I think I only have 2 in there, right? so I didn't use the 3 example. Well, yeah, would have been better with 3. So that's in this some other video that I put the 3 in. I guess that was a live video. Yeah, and then the great spring argument, which, again, no physicist has talked about. I don't know. I can't find any information online about anybody pointing out how springs don't give back energy quite as well as they collect it. Simple argument. You'd think physics would have said it somewhere in all of this time. And it's not been said by anybody but me, as far as we know. Okay, hello, Pookie. So, you're more like Pukey. Goodbye, Pukey. Ugh. Coming back over and over again with your alter ego will get you banned. Whatever that even means. Coming back over and over again with your alter egos. You mean sock accounts. Oh. Who cares? I mean, they want to waste sock accounts. That's their prerogative, right? Obviously, it points to their credibility. I mean, if you're talking about harassment, that's sort of a harassment, right? When people have said, "No, go play somewhere else. I'm not interested in your farts. Go fart in somebody else's house. This is a no fart zone." And they don't respect that. You'll never find any evidence of me ever going online, ever, and just farting in somebody's comment section. It's just something, I wouldn't do. I don't send fart emails. I don't bother with any of that nonsense. I've never had a sock account in my life. Let's see, okay, so I'll give you the 2-minute warning, I guess. Yes. So people just don't provoke any interest in me. You don't stimulate me in any way. You just don't help at all. So the next video, I guess, will be the ballistic pendulum, so I'll do a preview. Yeah, give me a second to do something here. But I can't think of how to preview it in any better way than I've already done it before. Now, I could point out that they actually did call it a ballistic pendulum 300 years ago. And they just used that term for any circumstance where you were colliding a light mass into a heavy mass and having them stick. So that was no matter... where the hell is my... Ugh. So I thought that was a little bit interesting, and so this was a real problem for the Leibnizian theory, that even the people who thought it was intriguing and interesting, they were disturbed that the inelastic collisions appeared to destroy it all. And we're not talking about the inelastic ones where you have a crushable clay or something. We're talking about the inelastic ones where you just allowed, by putting a little bit of sticky stuff on the things, okay, and had them stick. And so every time that happens, the momentum is conserved in this direction. Now what they didn't talk much about, though, is when you brought two of them in with force into each other. So they didn't really talk about uneven masses with their own velocity. So the 150 argument that they believe in the 50. So I have 50 momentums hitting 150, and what I get out is just the 100 these are going this way, and this one's going this way. They collide, and all I get out, this one stops with 0, and all I get out is the 1/100. So somehow I have 50 momentum and 150 momentum, and all I get out is 100. And you could argue that they would have a problem with that and say, well, where's the rest of the motion? Where's the rest of the energy that went into the collision? Because they do know if you did make this clay and these two things hit and they could crush, that they're going to crush with 200 worth of crushing. So they knew that if I allowed the fenders to be smashed, that I'm going to get 200 worth of crushing. But in this case, I'm going to get 100 out. Can't happen. Really dumb. Yeah, really stupid. All right, so let's do the ballistic pendulum in the more modern version of collecting bullets and such. So they do it first with little ball bearings. They'll have a little spring device, and we know the flaws of springs, and just push it into a mechanism that traps the ball. Okay, so there's a little loss to some friction, and then they just measure the motion of the pendulum, and these usually come out where you lose like half the kinetic energy. So you might have 500 joules of kinetic energy, and the pendulum's motion will only be 250 joules of kinetic energy, and they have to assume that the other half is somehow in here, but it's just assumed. There's no evidence of it. And so in the more classic case, is you take a much bigger pendulum and you shoot a tiny projectile, okay, with a very high velocity. So it's, we're talking about something, this is like the one atom going 1,000 miles an hour, and you're going to collect it in the 1,000 atoms. Okay, and the simple truth is what you'll do is just transfer the momentums. And so if the momentum of this object was 10, all you're going to collect is 10 in the pendulum. So its linear motion will just be 10. So even though its kinetic energy is again 1,000, all you get is 10. And nothing more. Not 11, not 12, not any of that stuff. And of course you're 990 short. So you've lost 990 okay, of the KE, the joules. And the assumption is that somehow it's in here, but they never test in here. They don't put a thermometer in there and measure it, and it's a huge amount. So in the actual case, the numbers are more like 2,000 joules go in. The pendulum moves with 2 joules, okay, and you're obviously missing, 99.94% of the KE is missing. And the argument is, Professor Lewin even says it's lost, but then he claims, well, it's in heat, and it can't be in deformation. So again, that's another one of these arguments they make, like somehow deforming something is something separate from heat. Deformation is always converted into heat. So when you bend something or break something, the energy doesn't end there. It has to leave as heat. So anytime a piece of metal gets bent, right? So it starts off that way and it ends up getting deformed. All of that energy that went into bending it is still alive, and it's going to leave as heat. Every bit of it. So none of that is evidence of energy, because it's only temporarily manipulating the surface, and it's actually still in the environment. It's still moving, and it's moving as heat. So that was what Joule realized, is that all of the motion can be converted, no matter whether it's deformation, no matter what it is. I can smash clay inside a water tank. I can bounce them off of each other. I can do any inelastic, elastic, it doesn't matter. Because all of the motion, if I stop all of the motion, that is, I put the things in and all the motion stops, the heat is where all the motion is. So all of the energy that was in it is there as heat. So you can't say deformation. Nothing's lost to deformation. It has to be lost to heat. So if it's in the pendulum, it's not in the form of deformation or clay that was moved. It's in the form of heat. And again, they haven't ever stuck a thermometer in a ballistic pendulum. Ever. So we got all this, like I said, hundreds of years to collect what they claim is there, and they never tried to collect it. And again, the argument can be made. Joules tanks were invented, whatever it was, 150 years ago. 18, whatever the hell it was, 40, 30. Why hasn't somebody decided to use them now? Because you don't have to do it their way. You can just drop things into the tank. And when all the motion stops, you just see how much the temperature rose. And it'll tell you how much energy it had. Fact. All the motion will be stopped. All the deformation will stop. And all you'll have is heat in your sealed container. That's it. So all energy doesn't have to get converted into heat because it can be converted in partial. So in the ballistic pendulum case, yes, there is some energy left in here. Because in the actual pendulum experiments with a bullet, you don't get all of the momentum. You get like 95% of the momentum. So you don't collect all of it. You get a little bit short. And a little bit short is what's still in here is heat. But it's a small amount, 2 joules, not thousands of joules of heat. And that's the truth of it. So, you can convert part of it. Friction can grab it and create some heat, just like the surface when you're rolling things, right? The rolling argument is so good. You roll it, and what's happening as it's traveling? It's going slower and slower. The slower it goes, the more gravity per inch. Okay, the faster it's going, the less gravity per inch, weight per inch. And clearly all you're doing is changing all of the linear motion into heat. And so when the ball stops, all of the energy is here as heat, a measurable quantity of heat. And there's going to be the same amount of heat in this tiny portion as there is in this 3 units of distance. This 3 units of distance is going to be 1 unit of heat, just as it was 1 unit of time. And this is going to be 1 unit of heat. Because it's losing energy much quicker here because of the quicker. It's losing it more rapidly based on per square inch because there is more weight. Because it is putting more pressure on the ground. It's making better contact, like electricity. There's more amperage going into the ground. Because of the better contact with the object, it's taking more of the energy. The slower it goes, the faster, okay, per unit of distance, it loses the energy. Per unit of time, it's the same. Like I said, the time here, for this 3/4 of the trip, that time is 1 unit of time. It's the same 1 unit of time for this tiny amount of distance. They can't rationally argue any of this. And they aren't rationally arguing any of this. That's just the absolute fact. Is I can make these arguments till I die, and they're not going to make any counter arguments because it can't be countered. The truth is momentum absolutely works. It makes perfectly good sense. You have big things moving, you convert it into little things moving. Atoms and electrons, and then you can take atoms and electrons moving in an explosion, and you can cause big things, buildings to fall over. It makes perfect good sense. You always have a conservation of MV. And it's always in the universe. It's always on the move. The force, the actual motion, is always somewhere. No new motion is created, and no old motion dies. That's a profound statement, and it's just amazing, that through their nonsense, they've lost sight of something so obvious. That the universe is a container. There's little things moving. And that they can't be annihilated or destroyed or in anything. That's it. They're there. They stick to matter. Alright, and they push it. And then they can be released back to being freely flying again. But that's it. That's all there is in the universe. Is pieces of momentum going the speed of light, the raw force, and then there's the matter, the electrons and the protons that are pushed around by it. It makes so much sense. And they're talking about how that's an ugly view of reality. It isn't coherent. It doesn't make sense. Of course it makes sense. And it proves gravity, by the way. Did I do gravity? No, I didn't gravity yet. I probably should do a gravity video. Yeah. And have them explain how gravity doesn't make things hot. It's moving matter, applying pressure, right? I mean, right now I'm applying pressure on the Earth, and they're claiming that pressure doesn't create heat. Then what does it create? Yeah, right. Too silly. All right. So, see any comments? Let's see. Oh, these people, it's just too bad there just aren't any reasonable people watching these videos. Let's see. Phoenix, whatever that could be. So this is just, some poople. What? This is such a waste of time. Okay, here we go. So that was garbage here. Lives in ice space. So he's doing the same thing again? Oh, okay. Well, I'm not going to read anything you type, so I don't know who you're writing it for, but I'm not going to see any of it. Because I'm going to hit this button, and all of it's going to disappear. Did you see that? It disappeared. So you wasted an awful lot of time there, buddy. All right, let's see. Just debate Andrew Wilson on his Crucible. So who's Andrew Wilson? Why should I care? I mean, you're just such a waste of my time. It's just. We'll just remove it. Andrew Wilson is hilariously retarded. Well, I don't know why you're watching him then. You likely wouldn't because you don't actually believe in debate. Well, yeah, in some ways I don't. I think video responses are so much better, so much more coherent. Things don't go sideways. They don't get sidetracked. You can make logical and disciplined arguments. It's just a much better way to have an argument is to exchange videos, frankly. I don't know what a live debate does that's better. So you'd have to explain to me what it does that's better. Fuckhead. He uses transcendental, well that's the end of it, for God. Oh shit, so these are God botherers? But that's not the subject anyways. I don't know. Then show it by actually debating instead of claiming. Well, we just block them. I'm not going to waste my time debating religious nutters. Fuck you. Evolution's a fact, fuckhead. Ugh, God. It's disgusting. It's a blood sport, whatever that means. Rachel lost against Amanda. Yeah, she lost because she never even got on the subject. What would she believe? What would she think if she didn't believe in her fable? What would she think when she looked at the world and saw how it just cruelly abused people for no good reason? I mean, just bad luck. Wrong place, wrong time. Brick falls off of a building for, pigeon sits on it. It falls off, and they're retarded for the rest of their life. What the fuck does this have to do with anything, reasonable? Why would you defend that as a loving God? Yeah, fuck you people. Too ridiculous. You should get the worst of it. If you're gonna defend this slaughterhouse, you should get the worst of it. Alright, so there's just nothing here. Disappointing, but I'm kind of used to that. Alright, what do I need here? Don't need that. That's the page for getting the hell out of here. So 8 viewers. Yeah, it just isn't enough of an audience to generate anything called useful interaction. Sad but true. So, not much I can do about it, right? I can only do my part. I can make arguments. They can keep trying to make it into some personal thing, and that's what they just keep doing. I keep making videos on the subject. They keep just making trash crap. So, that's the facts. Alright, so, till the next time, and such, and so forth, and whatnot. Let's see. Your stream will stop immediately. Well, it probably won't be immediate. And you will no longer be live. Oh, I'm going to be dead.